My name is Kristin Rasmussen. I'm Director of Public Affairs and Communications for Hampton Lumber. We're a fourth-generation family-owned company headquartered here in Portland. We have 3 sawmills in Northwest Oregon in the communities of Willamina, Tillamook, and Warrenton. We also own about 120,000 acres of timberland to help support those mills here in Oregon. And then we have a wholesale and export division, import division that we operate out of our Portland headquarters. So I grew up on the Central Oregon coast in a small timber and fishing community. My family, we didn't work in the woods. My mom was a teacher and my dad worked with the fishing community, but it was very clear from an early age how important forests and working forests were in my town. My friends' families worked there. We had a sawmill. It was kind of the backbone of our community. Not just for jobs, but for secondary businesses, for our schools and other public services. So it was very clear that that was part of our identity and our culture, and it was a big source of pride, and still is for my town and my family. That's where we came from. So, our family home was tucked into a second-generation forest, so it was probably about 50 or 60 years old when I came around, and so I spent a lot of time out there building forts and getting dirty and hiding under ferns. And it was one nice thing about growing up in a rural area, you know, as long as you were back by dark, good luck, you know, and don't get too bloodied or scraped. So that was a really big part of my childhood and something that I really cherish. I now live in Portland, North Portland. I love this Portland community. I've been here for about 10 years now and working with Hampton. So I live with my family and my 3-year-old, and actually now 4-year-old, turned 4 the other day, and our English Shepherd, Bogart. After I graduated from high school on the coast, I traveled quite a bit and went to got my undergraduate degree at University of Oregon, and then got my master's degree out in Washington, D.C. And I focused on international development. And through the course of that, really became interested and passionate about environmental conflict resolution, which is what I ended up focusing on. And I think that's in big part thanks to where I grew up and when I did. You know, I came of age when I was in graduate school when the Northwest Forest Plan was passed and the timber wars that, you know, we all hear about happened. And like I said, my family wasn't in the sector, but it was a scary and uncertain time for our community, and I think it made a pretty big impact. And it wasn't just, you know, around forests, it was also around the fishing community and how important that was, and how natural resources and economic development are so closely tied together in rural areas. And so it's always been a passion of mine. And so when Hampton Lumber started looking for someone that wanted to go out and talk to people about working forests and the importance of wood products, I jumped at it, and I've been with the company for about 9 years now. You know, I live in Portland. I love Portland. I think, you know, a lot of people here love forests, and they experience them in a lot of different ways. You know, the easiest way, of course, is through parks or some of the public lands, and I find myself really fortunate that I not only had the experience growing up in a different environment where those forests are working, but also work with people who manage those forests now. It really provides a unique perspective of all the work, all the time, all the care that goes into planning and planting and tending and planning a harvest and getting the wood out, finding people to move it safely and efficiently to the mill, all of the work it takes to run a sawmill, and then, you know, getting that wood to market and dealing with volatile, you know, wood markets and things like that. I mean, it's an incredibly complicated and complex industry, and I'm really feel privileged to kind of have that kind of behind the scenes look at some of the work that goes into, you know, structures like this. We're here at a building called Mississippi. I believe it was the first mixed-use mass timber building constructed in the Pacific Northwest, and it's absolutely beautiful if you get a chance to go in. You know, I think most people who come in here appreciate how beautiful it is. You know, I think many don't understand the climate benefits of using wood in structures like this, and they don't understand all the work and care that goes into growing the wood that's used in places like this. So part of what I hope to do in my role is to kind of increase that awareness over time as people start to realize, you know, how important our working forests are. What does it mean to me to be one with the woods? I think I would go back to, like, you know, what I do and where I live. I'm in a very urban environment. I think being someone who knows the woods and working woods, I think I really appreciate the perspective that it gives me. Being here in a city that uses a lot of wood, that depends on wood, that has a lot of really important climate change goals, and being part of a sector that can offer solutions to that. And the knowledge that has come from my position in the forest sector with all the work that goes into it. I feel really well equipped to make decisions when I'm out and about, when I'm looking at projects, when I'm doing things that involve wood and wood products and policy issues. I just feel like having this background and experience and the access to foresters and landowners has really kind of made me well-rounded as far as understanding the issues and why active forest management is so important. I was amazed at how many people at Hampton who had no background in forestry were all very excited because they're passionate. They just didn't know where to channel that interest and to have a group that they could talk to and do something. So it's been really kind of fun to get people like Kit and folks involved.